every week. Oh, I'm glad Snowden darling.
I'm Laura Knowles. And we're dressed the same tonight.
We have, and 16,000 months in, we're still battling technology.
Forever and ever, amen.
Why are we doing today's topic, Laura?
I'm due on.
Oh my God, and I am so incredibly hormonal. Do you know what?
Do you know what? I think all hormone discussions should start like that. Do you know what? I've got something to say about this.
So I had years, as well you know, because you were sat opposite the table when I was going through them, I had years of suddenly getting this horrific dark mood where I mean, literally polax, some days not being able to get out of bed. And I started working with my brilliant hormone doctor April last year for bioidentical hormones, and it has taken, oh no, it's the year before, because we lost a year, didn't we? So I mean, a long time ago now, 2 years ago, and it's been a real journey to get my hormones balanced. And you know, so during that time, I've noticed, haven't I, my energy improving, my productivity improving. It's been amazing. And I only had a really low mood, I remember, and that wasn't even low mood, I was just really tired for a day a couple of months back. And I actually said to my partner, I went on a date last week, and I said to my partner, I went, do you know what? Those days where I've been absolutely polaxed and can't go out of bed, I said, I genuinely feel like they're a thing of the past. And then this week happened. Oh my God. I'm absolutely astounded. I mean, today, if I could have just stayed in bed with a pillow over my head, I would have been happier.
It sucks, isn't it? I can feel it. I can feel it in myself. Like, I'm like, my tolerance is this big. Don't bloody mess with me. Because you're going to get it. All right? I just got nothing. And it's great because after years and years and years of going, oh, I'm in a really bad mood. What's this? Oh, no, wait. It's that time of the month. The reason that I'm feeling it in myself, and it's something that we talk about in both our health training as well as our emotional training, because it really sits in both. So I thought what could be quite useful tonight to talk about is how we approach healthy periods, healthy hormones from a physical nutritional perspective, and when we've got symptoms, what's that saying in the body and what would we recommend, and from an emotional perspective, because I think actually our approach, it's I see in the health world that often when things are happening emotionally, there are a lot of therapies that try and get you away from the emotion that you're feeling, whereas we think about it differently. So I'm feeling like, and actually I find it much easier to go towards that feeling. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, same actually. I would have actually quite happily, like I said, spent the day in bed with a pillow over my head, just actually rolling around in my own self-pity, like rather than try and distract myself, pretend it's not happening. It's actually, I find these days harder to get up, put a smile on my face, carry on with what actually there wasn't much smiling, to be fair, but
I had to work with you.
Smile on my face and try and crack on. I mean, that's not entirely possible when we have work to do, and in your case, looking after a child, we have to be able to get on. But yeah, I'm completely with you. I would much rather be in the emotion.
Well, it's like the body form adverts of the 1990s where you've got your period, but don't worry, you can still jump out of a plane. Fuck the plane. Not getting out that plane. I am staying in bed and I ain't coming out. So
I'm watching Netflix.
Yeah, totally. Well, as we're heading in this direction, let's talk about the cycle from a hormonal perspective, and also from how we can work with our cycle, because this is something that we're deeply passionate about teaching women, because I think we are encouraged to live quite a linear life, that we just are the same every single day, and women are not. We are cyclical, and actually there is such benefit, there is such health to be found when we enable ourselves to be more cyclical. So we have, after our bleed, we have the pre-ovulation, which is where estrogen is starting to rise. And naturally, if we're a healthy woman, then we will start to be feeling quite perky and like enjoying life and creative ideas and feeling inspired. And the idea is that as we come up to ovulation, and ovulation, so estrogen's at its peak, and we also get a kick of testosterone, which is usually when we, like, our partners are meant to look quite tasty around that time, because testosterone is a bit of a like a, hey, how you doing? It's a juicy hormone. And so, and we get that burst of energy. So if we allow ourselves, one thing that we used to do is when we used to look at meetings and we go, so when our cycles were more balanced together, like, when are you ovulating? When am I ovulating? Should we plan a meeting then? Because actually that creativity in ovulation can be really, really rich. And we are super women at ovulation. We're kind of, it's an outward energy, and we're out there and we're doing it and we're making it happen. And then we get the slight drop, testosterone drops, estrogen slightly drops, and progesterone comes online. This is how it should be for many, many women who are stressed. Progesterone is not starting to rise. So that is a big issue that we see. And so as progesterone is starting to rise and estrogen is starting to rise, we get this premenstrual, the place I am in. And something I really encourage women to do, and I do it myself, is what is so glorious about being a woman is that every single month we have this detox that happens. We have our bleed, and our bleed is where all of these hormones that build up and build up and build up, and if there's no baby that has been conceived, drop off. And so we have this opportunity for all the time throughout the month that we have people pleased, or we've done things that we didn't want to do, or we've said things that we didn't really mean. And that premenstrual place, when I have a woman who is, oh, well, I'm just awful at that time of the month, and I feel like I'm really bitchy, or actually let's work with that energy, because actually a woman who is in alignment with that time of the month, I mean, the ability to be able to speak the truth and to speak clearly, and if we give ourselves the opportunity, and of course, if there is frustration and there is a short fuse, I mean, what a glorious time of the month to get it out. I mean, it's, you know, one of my favorite things to do is, now that I feel much more connected with my anger, which is much more, you know, to do with my passion, I get it out at that time of the month. Everything's at its fullest, and I'm like, and I can absolutely take on the world and tell people exactly what I think. And then as that decline happens and our period begins, and we are meant to release all of those hormones, then there's the time for rest. And that downward spiral into the premenstrual tension, if we are stressed and we are busy and we're not producing the right levels of progesterone, we are going to be ratty, we are going to be intolerant, we are going to be short-tempered. But if we can use those emotions and we can balance the stress, and as we come into our bleeds, we can use that time to detox the hormones, detox ourselves, rest, deeply, deeply rest. What we find is that women, as they come up to their ovulation for the next month, have a lot more energy. So this balance of, as we build up to ovulation, we're full of energy. As we come down into our periods, we are lower in energy. If we are able to manage our lives, wouldn't that be amazing? With this understanding of the cycle, then things are just so much easier. I'm such a believer in what is alive in me, go with it.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one, because like you're talking about this, you know, no holds barred, wanting to speak the truth. And this detox concept is really fascinating because, you know, the possibility is that with all the estrogen we have, we become caretakers. Our needs are secondary. We are the mothers, we're the givers, we're caretaking, we're out there in the world, we're doing all the things. But, you know, our partner might say something that pisses us off, but we just are, I'm too busy being out there in the world and doing all the things and being high energy. And then suddenly this pre-bleed comes in, this week pre-bleed. And suddenly we'll say to our partner, oh, by the way, that thing you said 3 weeks ago, because they just look at us and go, what? And it's because at the
And
time,
another thing,
we had loads of estrogen, so we kind of didn't care. But in the detox, when we can start to see it as an emotional detox as well, and everything we've been holding on to, we have to clear it out before we move forward again. And this, of course, is actually very much mirrored in menopause, whereas menopause is considered basically a 10 to 15 year premenstrual period. It's grim. And of course, the release in that premenstrual heightening of all of our emotions, and everything's just really sensitive, you know, everything's a bit more painful. The release the day we start bleeding, it's like it can almost be euphoric, can't it? It's like, oh God, that's better. Instantly, oh God, that's better. Oh yeah. Yeah, really good poo.
isn't that amazing? I mean, we could totally talk about this connection between our cycles and the bowels. The bowels is such a victim.
Such a victim.
It's so common. I'm massively constipated. The week I'm due on, and then all hell lets rip.
Everything happens because also we retain water, don't we? So it's like I'm pooing, I'm bleeding, I'm weeing. Everything is happening south of my belly button. It's just all going on. But I mean, and this is the frustrating thing with the menopause is, I mean, so I am in, like, I don't even know what's going on with my cycle. I mean, I did cry this morning and I said to my partner, I mean, I've been dealing with this for 8 years. And yes, I've only just been on the right hormones for 2, but 8 years and I still get the odd bleed. I mean, come on, when is it going to end? Because I could be doing this for another 15 and it's quite frankly exhausting. But I mean, I might never bleed again. And so all of this feeling and the sore boobs and just, oh God, the relief sometimes never comes. But then one day everything just feels a bit different. It's the weirdest thing. It's just the strangest thing. And today I'm really feeling it. But I don't think I can't feel that I'll bleed. And so you kind of go through all this gearing up and then it doesn't happen. It's the strangest thing. And of course, exactly as you're saying, it's because as menopausal women, there isn't enough, you haven't built up the womb lining enough, you haven't ovulated, there's nothing to detox. It's bloody awful.
Let's explore the chemical side. We talked about the hormones.
Seriously, I roll. Oh. Yes.
So we've talked about like the emotional things that we can go through and the hormones that are going on at different times of the month. Let's explore the symptoms of premenstrual tension and what the body could be asking for, what it's trying to tell us.
It wants chocolate and Netflix. No.
Well, yes, actually. I mean, that's kind of one of the big things with premenstrual tension. If you are someone who deals with premenstrual tension, our favorite supplement on the planet is magnesium.
Oh, no, magnesium.
Yeah. God, get that in a pill form. But magnesium, which is found in chocolate. But I mean, we also know that the connection between estrogen and insulin is so interwoven that if you've got that high build of estrogen, you're also going to have potentially your insulin and your blood sugars all out of whack, which is where the chocolate cravings could be coming from. So it could be a magnesium, it could be your blood sugars off. Yeah.
And so, yes, you know, chocolate, preferably dark chocolate, and, you know, occasional Netflix because we get to rest, but definitely magnesium. That's really essential. And actually, it's a really good point because I've felt like crap since Monday. And the easiest thing to do is just to want to dive into something sugary. I want comfort food. It is just, I can feel the sort of desire for carbs and stodge. And actually, this is the time to feed my body properly, because I'm probably not going to get that bleed relief, which is, where everything then resets and it's just so glorious. And so if I want to be in a state in 2 weeks' time where my body can actually, bounce back and I'm doing much better, I have to look after my blood sugars. Now, I have to make sure that every meal, proteins, fats, the right carbs. In fact, I've gone down on my carbs a little bit because of that estrogen insulin connection, just to kind of, stop the bloat, stop all of the things. This is absolutely the time. And my to-do list is ridiculous. And actually twice today, I've just gone upstairs with my dog, jumped on the bed, the pillow over my head, and just stayed there for half an hour, just going, I just need to check out. Actually, a couple of times this week, just going, just need half an hour of just checking out my consciousness, because I'm not going to be that productive. Been able to do a little bit, but it's just not going to happen this week. And that's okay. So I think that's a really important thing.
I think this is exciting because we're starting to see this understanding that menopause is this life-changing, symptom-heavy experience for many women. And what's glorious about hearing your experience is that you are able to take those times in the day where you go, right, duvet over my head. And I think that we're starting to see in corporate businesses this raising of awareness that hormonal menopausal women need support. They need a metaphorical duvet over their head in the middle of the day if they are working in a corporate position. I think this is important.
But then premenstrual women need a bit of support, because
true.
As Meg's just said, my body's trying to tell me to murder people from the comfort of under my duvet.
If you come in this room and you come under the duvet, I'm going to kill you.
Tracy says, cupboard raiding for something sweet. I don't have any because I'm not buying it. So I feel like an angry monster. I know, I get really cross with myself. Why is everything in my cupboards healthy? Why, God, why?
God. Honestly, there's so many hacks that I have in my life for sweet cravings. I wonder one day if I'm ever going to really, truly nail that. So, for example, I've got this, it's a amino acid, vitamin D drink powder that I use as pudding.
I've got it's sort of powdered greens and fruits with loads of stuff, and I'll dip in that.
You know what I nearly did this week? I nearly ate my face scrub.
God, that's sad. It's really sad.
I think that's pineapple.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So it is crazy, isn't it? And then not being able to fit anything, like my clothes just not fitting, or I just wake up and go, how did I cycle 14 miles yesterday? And then I'm literally the size of a minivan today. Like, how is that even possible?
Well, this was the other thing that I wanted to explore when we're talking about what is happening in our bodies. So the gut plays such a major role here, because with this rise in all of the hormones, it's the liver that is detoxing these out, and then the liver is processing them either through the kidneys or through the bowel. And if you have a compromised gut microbiome, then you're not going to be cleansing these you're not going to be cleansing these hormones out. This is also my life is trying to figure out what balance I need to be able to support my gut so that it can do what it needs to do to process the food and to process the hormones and to get my toxins out, and supporting my liver. So if we have a client who is experiencing a lot of premenstrual tension symptoms, one of the areas I'm going to be looking at is what is going on with that stressed liver. Yeah. So we know that things like eating inflammatory foods, drinking alcohol, oh my God, drinking alcohol is just the older I get as a woman who balances her hormones, the more I see the effect of alcohol on my hormones. Wowzers. And it is this interplay. So the liver and the pancreas, with the blood sugars and the detoxing and the digestion, they absolutely are the two organs that are having to process this alcohol, and going anywhere near perimenopause with alcohols is just forget it. And
well,
so,
and like I say, if you've got a disturbed gut microbiome, then we also get a massive histamine response. So anything fermented, so you can't go near wine anymore, but buy beer.
chocolate.
Huh?
Chocolate's a high histamine food.
Chocolate, you can't go near that. Sauerkraut, no. Kombucha, I remember, I love kombucha, and I literally remember going, no, when I had really, really like big histamine issues. But the good thing is, vodka is not fermented. You're welcome.
And it's and vodka, remind me, it's a berry, right? It's not a grain.
It's potato.
Oh, well, there we go then. Unless you've got, nightshade issues.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, it's like seriously fried, so I don't actually think there's any potato left in it. That would be a bit lumpy. But also gin. But the problem then is the tonics, because you don't want, anyway, this is a whole alcohol, it's not an alcohol debate. But basically, vodka, soda, lime. I think that's like the best thing you can do.
Oh God, not interested. It's just, I prefer to go without alcohol, actually. That whole, like, the vodka, lime and tonic, that reminds me of being 16.
Yeah.
That's what I used to drink in the 90s.
Anyway, let's not talk about what
And Pernod. That's another story. Okay, back onto the subject. So some of the common symptoms that we see, so the premenstrual tension, the big, like, painful swollen boobs, that is saying to me estrogen. That is either there is an estrogen dominance, or the estrogen isn't being cleared out. And if there's an estrogen dominance, I'm interested in, is that being caused by insulin? So I'm interested in sugar. The other mineral I'd be thinking for periods is zinc.
Yeah.
Zinc is such a period repair mineral. The other things I would be thinking for period issues are adaptogens. So they're the herbs that we use and recommend. And they are, what I love about adaptogenic herbs is often period symptoms, like we've made that connection between stress or with blood sugars. What is so glorious about taking an adaptogen is that if you get the right one, it will work on your blood sugars, it will work on your stress, it will work on your gut, it will work on your hormones, it will work on the whole kit and caboodle. So I do love an adaptogen.
Yeah, same. Look, I get out of bed without them. Barely didn't today, even with them. I mean, I say all of this, and yet here we are talking about how terribly premenstrual and / menopausal we are. So all of this.
Well, just
maybe there's just a bullet you can't dodge. There's just part of it. You just got to ride it. You just got to suck it up.
You know what? When my gastroenterologist said, you know what, you messed it up in your teens. Oh well. It's one of those things. There was an acceptance that happened for me. So when I first started this like health journey when I was 23, I think, I was on this quest to be the pinnacle of health. And I think my learning and my journey has been this, it's a management. That's okay. I live a full and wonderful, fabulous life. I'm so grateful for my health. And yes, it needs sticking plasters and it needs support. And it does remind me if I am not doing the things that I preach, which is great. But yeah, I've got acceptance with that it's still a process. My health is still a process.
Yeah, it's never going to be a pinnacle, right? Because when you get for something, there's only down.
Yeah, well, I may never have the digestion of my dreams. I've got to, my digestion works, and I don't have the symptoms that I used to have, for sure, but I have to manage it.
Yeah, same. Same, and it's really annoying because I watch people who can eat cake every day or, you know, biscuits every day and on a regular basis, and I just sit there and go, it's really not. And they're fine, and they're, you know, a size 10, and I go, that's just not fair.
Hmm. Yeah, but I tell you what, the more I do this work, and the more when I meet someone and I see that they're eating rubbish, and I go, there's gonna be,
somewhere, yeah.
it's gonna come out somewhere, right? There's gonna be either a feeling of anxiety, or there's gonna be gut microbiome issues, or there's gonna be an immune issue, or there's gonna be, maybe they are going to find menopause difficult, or there's fertility issues. There, it demonstrates itself. It will.
It totally does. And I'm just hoping, and I don't wish that on anybody, but I'm kind of hoping that we preloaded all of our symptoms, and so when we get into later life, we're going to be, you know, the picture of health. Meg says, I think they're the people that my body wants me to murder.
Yeah, I think she might have a point.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's really interesting. Now let's just have a quick conversation around, we've talked about food, and we've talked about diet and about making sure that we're eating balance. So balancing our blood sugars to us means at every single meal, a dedicated protein source, meat, fish, eggs, tofu, or protein powders, and vegan protein powders, not the whey ones, because dairy is highly estrogenic, so that will throw out your hormones. Good fats, lots and lots of your leafy greens and your non-starchy vegetables, and then a portion of starchy carbohydrates, so a root veg, fruit, grains and beans per meal, or a treat like some chocolate or, you know, honey. So that is how to eat balanced. But let's just talk about, because triangle of hormonal health, which of course is our clinical model, and female hormones is over here, blood sugars is over here, this connection that we were talking about with estrogen and insulin. But the other connection is with stress hormones. Now, a lot of people don't understand, is they go, well, I'm not stressed. People don't understand that they're stressed. And there's a the big difference between, oh, I'm really stressed at work, and my body is under stress. So our bodies are under stress because we've actually launched, I think it was something ridiculous, like nearly 2,000 nuclear bombs on this planet, which is a hermetically sealed ball. That radiation hasn't gone anywhere. So the fact that it's in our environment and our bodies have to process it means our bodies, if you imagine the bandwidth of our Wi-Fi, our bodies have to take up a little bit of it, you know, by dealing with things like radiation. My dad is a rocket scientist, always used to talk about cosmic radiation. I always think the word cosmic sounds terribly retro, so cosmic radiation. But he says that our bodies, he had this real belief that our bodies, and it's true, we have, just by being on a planet in a solar system, there's something else our bodies are having to deal with. Now we've got EMF radiation and all of the gadgets. Then we've got emotional stress, so partners, children, work, finances, low self-esteem from body issues. COVID pandemic. So our bandwidth, you know, if our bandwidth is like this, we're already here. Now we could start to add in carbohydrate rich diet, too much sugar, too much alcohol. Bandwidth is getting taken up more and more and more. So now when I talk about stress, actually our bodies are just obliterated by stress every single day before we even get out of bed. Like, just being human in the environment, this toxic stew that we have created of pollution and pesticides equals stress for our bodies. But there are two main things that we can really do. That if we bring focus to them, we can really support our bodies to change and bring that bandwidth, you know, back down a bit. The first is food intolerances. So we go on about this a lot because I think people know about food intolerances, but it doesn't really land how much of a stressor it is on the body. Because if you're eating food you're intolerant to, every single time you eat it, your body has to have an immune response. Now that is an immune response you could be having fighting off COVID, or, you know, anything else, the common cold, anything else. So that immune reaction isn't going to be there. Alternatively, that immune reaction will then get overstimulated and become an autoimmune disease. Alternatively, it will get understimulated and it won't notice a buildup of bacterial overgrowth in the gut, or candida, or cancer. That is ultimately what's happening. So we have to make sure that our immune systems aren't having to deal with food stress every single damn day. And I see people's diet sheets, and sometimes it's 3 or 4 times a day, because the main things that we talk about as being food intolerances are wheat, not all grains, not all gluten is bad, but wheat for sure, because of the way we hybrid the grain, and then because we started spraying it with glyphosate pesticide. It's horrendous. It's arsenic. It's poison. Every single time we eat it, we are poisoning our body. And one of my favorite questions to people when they say, well, how much wheat can I eat? And I say, how much poison do you want to have in your diet until you think you're going to feel unwell? It's up to you. I know if I have it, if I could maybe have someone's onion ring and I'd probably be all right. But if I had anything, I had some really nice someone's homemade sourdough bruschetta, didn't have a reaction, but I was really bloated the next day. Like my body's going to say, no thanks to the wheat, no thanks. Or just on sourdough, people say, but it's sourdough, it's fermented. And I go, yeah, it's fermented poison. That's what that is. Or it's organic wheat. Yep, it's organic poison. It's just not been sprayed with the glyphosate. So wheat is a biggie. Milk is huge. It's highly estrogenic because of what it actually is. But also because it's so processed, there's so many antibiotics in it, so much growth hormone in it. Milk and it stimulates mucous membranes like you wouldn't believe. So this is where we're starting to get, gut issues, sinus issues, growth issues in children, tonsillitis, ear infections. It's just the gamut. My daughter and I have a game. If we're going to go to something like frozen yogurt as a treat, and we literally set a timer on a phone about who gets the dairy snots first, because it's like, we're both quite intolerant to milk, so we'll do it occasionally, but it's like this joke. How long till you got the dairy snots? 4.5 minutes. Yeah, me too. Hilarious. Everyone knows that sugar is toxic for our body, so we have to be mindful of that. But then interestingly, where we go to next, we call it the hierarchy of food intolerance, is we have those biggies at the bottom, and once you eliminate those, then your immune system, because we tend to eat them every day, our immune systems can have a bit of a breather, and they can have a bit of a rest, and they can sort of like get their head straight. But then if people are still experiencing symptoms, we look at the nightshade family. So potatoes, peppers, aubergines, and what's the other one? Tomatoes. They're big allergens, really big allergens. I can go near.
Do you know goji berries are a nightshade?
Yeah,
it's promoted as such amazing health food.
Yeah, I think I don't focus on them so much because they're small, unless you're eating handfuls of goji berries. Whereas, a potato you'd have for dinner, that's quite a lot of nightshade, deadly nightshades. They are high sensitizers, aren't they? So if we see people who are eating those on a daily basis, tomatoes every day, peppers every day, we go, okay, red flag, that could be an issue. And similarly, eggs, it's often not the yolk, it's often the whites that people are highly, highly intolerant to. So food stress is one of the main stressors that will be throwing out your hormones and will be affecting your blood sugars. But the other stress I want to talk about is the stress from chemical toxicity, because of the products that we are putting on our skin and in our environment. We don't need to clean our house with Sillet Bang. We didn't do that for thousands of years. We don't need to. We actually have plenty of my mum and dad used to have a housekeeper who used to really like using, there was that program like How Clean Is Your House, and they used to really focus on old-fashioned cleaning methods as well. Vinegar, toothpaste,
lemon,
bicarbonate of soda, lemon, absolutely brilliant. We just use these new things because we've been programmed, I need a kitchen cleaner, I need a floor cleaner. So you buy all these different cleaners, whereas actually, we don't need it. Bicarbonate of soda and some lemon, and we don't need it. Our houses can be really, really clean.
There's also the interplay, and come back to the microbiome, is that when we are using all of these toxic chemicals in our cleaning of our dishes that we eat off of, and then we're ingesting the food that's been on those dishes, or we're cleaning our environment and our skin, the biggest organ in the body that is absorbing all of this. It's just a massive sponge.
We found out recently that the skin makes cortisol, it makes stress hormone in response to toxic invasion. It's shocking.
Totally.
We don't need.
God, I saw an amazing piece of, I think it was a blog or a piece of research about how if we want to have a happy microbiome, like moving back towards washing up rather than the dishwasher, because the dishwashers tend to have They're very like, clean it. And we are no longer getting, it's too clean, everything's too clean.
I'm going to tell my very Virgo partner this because I'm a total grubbit and he's like clean freak. So I'm just going to say I need it for my gut microbiome.
You do, you really do. You need the dirt. It's the hygiene hypothesis. It's something we teach in our immune module in our practitioner training, is the importance. This is absolutely what science is discovering since the microbiome project in 2010. Oh my God, we're made of bacteria. Oh my God, it's not coming to get us. We actually need to live in balance with bacteria if we want to be healthy. Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So then the other thing to mention when we talk about chemical toxicity is the toiletries that we're putting on our skin, and that frightening statistic that the average woman puts 500 chemicals on her skin every single day. Absolutely terrifying. And a lot of the chemicals in the products are things like parabens, sodium lauryl sulfate, are called endocrine disruptor chemicals, and our glandular system, our thyroid, our adrenals, our ovaries, our pituitary gland, our thymus, which is immunity, our pancreas, which is insulin and digestion. All of these things are in our endocrine system. Endocrine disruptor chemicals does not sound like something you want. So we really do need to be, if we want good hormone health, good digestive health, good anything health, reducing that stress bandwidth, we must be talking about clean products. And there is so many options available today, so reasonably priced. It used to be extortionate, didn't it, to use organic or clean products? It's not anymore.
One of the crazy things I think about clean toiletries is that when a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer, she is recommended to give up underarm deodorants which contain aluminium and parabens, which they have done studies and discovered that in tumors they've discovered parabens. They can't say that parabens are causing the tumors, but they are recommending to women when they have cancer. And that, I feel so strongly about this, that we need to be raising this awareness that women need to be giving up the deodorants now. There's a reason that we need to sweat. It's part of how our body works. It's how our body detoxes. So coming back to that original hormone cleansing, you know, our bodies need to detox. And if our body can't detox, then it will start to store the toxins, and it stores them in cells. And this is one of the connections with cancer. So throw your underarm deodorants away. You may stink for a few weeks, warned said partner, but I swear your underarms will start to balance themselves.
Yeah, and actually humans don't really smell that much. It's funny because
they're healthy.
We tend to smell around, women particularly will have a different smell around ovulation, and that's part of it's our juicy pheromones coming out. So why would we want to cover those up with fake floral smells? And then we also do tend to smell just before our bleed because of the drop in our hormones. But again, those smells are really natural, but they don't tend to be really like manky. So humans aren't actually smelly. And if you do smell, if your partner is quite ponky, I'd be looking at gut microbiome. I'd be looking at what, are you hydrated? Is your liver clearing?
Exactly. The only reason that we smell as human beings is if we've got some toxic issues going on. So I'll be thinking gut microbiome, I'll be thinking balancing our hormones. It's the smell is telling you something. It's like another symptom. It's just communicating with us.
Smell, right? Like we should be able to go into a toilet, do a poo, come out, no one knows you've done a poo. That's like a sign of a really healthy microbiome. And sometimes that happens and sometimes it doesn't. And if it doesn't, then it's just telling you something.
Yeah.
Krista says, oh, this is why I don't clean very well. Yes, because it's very good for your microbiome.
Yeah. Embrace your inner grubbit.
Yeah, your inner grubbit.
See that on a t-shirt.
Hormones is a really fascinating subject, and we're deeply passionate about the subject. And for us, you know, there can be so much focus on hormones, but for us, it really is this interplay, isn't it, between blood sugars, stress hormones, and really this learning how to be with our cycle, to be with that cyclical nature, to allow ourselves to drop, let go. You know, like I said, my to-do list is massive. I spent quite a lot today with my head under a pillow, and that's okay because there'll be another day where I'm super productive. I'm really in the flow. And if we can just trust ourselves and trust our body, That's really the ultimate goal. That's how we smash the patriarchy.
Ooh.
Which you'll be doing right now anyway, because you're due on.
Well, I think of that.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I'm too tired to smash the patriarchy. I'll put my head under a pillow. I'll have a revolution from a bed.
Is there anything else we need to say? Is there any more questions or any other comments?
No other questions. So if you are concerned about your hormones, makes sense now you're talking my language, smashing the patriarchy. If from bed. If you are concerned about your hormones, you want hormonal support, we have a free online symptom assessor. And basically, every condition comes from a hormonal imbalance, not just the three that we've talked about. But our symptom assessor is absolutely designed to get you back to where you need to be. So the idea is you answer a few questions, it will tell you which hormone pathway to focus on and to start on. And then you have the option of buying a toolkit, which talks about supplements, diet, a whole load of lifestyle for that particular hormone pathway.
Toiletries, food intolerances,
everything, diet, everything. So then you can redo the symptom assessor after a month and see where you are then, and maybe pathway, or maybe you're feeling better. But basically, it is designed to save women thousands of pounds of seeing a practitioner one-to-one. And it is just is like seeing a practitioner one-to-one, because it is literally all of our knowledge dispensed into this symptom assessor and toolkit package. So symptom assessor is free. If you're interested in learning more about hormones, we actually have a hormone masterclass, which is 3 hours long and available on our website, and fantastic, if I do say so myself. And we also teach this stuff through our college, the College of Functional Wellness. So we have an online nutrition course, online coaching courses, if you want to learn more about the emotional aspects that we've been talking about, and also practitioner training. I think that's it.
Brilliant. It's been fun.
Thank you for your engagement. And we will be back next week with another exciting topic. Tune in next time.
And if there's a topic that you want us to cover, please post on our social media and let us know. Each week we sit down and we go, what shall we talk about this week? And depending on what's going on for us, we usually go, well, or if there's something trending, something in the news that we feel quite passionately about, then we tend to talk about that. But we are open to ideas.
We are open to ideas.
Pick our brains.
Please do. So thank you very much, everyone. Lovely engagement this evening, and see you next time.